for our first episode, we're definitely going to be talking about something that's been making a lot of noise in the American politics. And I say unfortunately, because as you guys know, and as a Christian, life is life, bro. And I don't like to see, I don't wish death upon anyone, whether you're in the left or right. We agree or not agree. Even if you're my enemy, bro. Controversial take.
No one deserves to die the way he died.
You know what I'm saying? So definitely. So for those that don't know, Charlie Kirk is what we're gonna cover in this first episode. And as a twist, I want us to also, as we talk about this, I guess, event.
Bro, this is our JFK, man.
Yeah, literally.
This is it's crazy because like before, especially with the whole social media dynamic, because when you hear about what happened to Martin Luther King, when you hear what happened to JFK, like you hear about it, it's in a textbook, but we're actually living it. Like the actual, like the video, and I'm talking about the close-up video, that was like the most graphic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's unsettling how a man of God. Listen, I will say one thing that I would criticize with him. Maybe there was a little too much hopes in politics, but the underlying like values that he had, that's what shook me because that's what I believe, you know?
Right.
And what did he represent? He represented, Christian values. He was talking about, having kids while you're married, serving God, putting, not putting careers important and materialism is, we all have to do all these different things, but putting God first, values first, that's what we all mostly believe. Even if you're liberal, right? You would agree with those as well. But unfortunately, the way that it was expressed through the media, social media, most people get their information on TikTok.
Right.
It's a mess.
Yeah, man. One of the most surprising things, I mean, like watching that was sad, right? But one of the most surprising things about how that all went down is just the reactions that people had to it.
Right.
That is what, like, me and Mike, we talk back and forth all day about just, I cannot believe what I'm witnessing from people that I thought were like good, normal, moral, otherwise godly, otherwise spirit-filled Christians.
Or just reasonable.
Reasonable
Even just
people,
reasonable. Yeah.
And they were reasonable people that were just like, oh yeah, he got what he was asking for,
Right.
What goes around comes around, And that is the most.
But also that was
shocking.
But the worst part of it is that they kept saying that he got what he deserved because of what he was putting out there, and because
it wasn't even that bad.
But my thing is, we're in 2025. It is easier than ever to get some context. Mm-hmm. Okay, you are fingertips away from getting context.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The whole empathy thing. That he said. I hate the word empathy. If you go on social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook, and you look for it, all you're gonna see is people reposting him saying, I hate the word empathy. Mm-hmm. But why not just put the entirety of that passage, right? Of what he actually said. He was talking about that he doesn't like the word empathy and then went into how he much prefers the word sympathy.
Right.
And just look for textbook definition as to what empathy really is. It's just you're literally sharing someone's feelings, and that's not always the case. Yeah. You can feel for someone, which is sympathy, versus actually being in those feelings with someone when you don't necessarily feel the same way they do. So why is that such a bad thing, right?
Well,
they crucified him for that.
Yeah, they did, and I think the whole point of, and I just finished watching that clip before we got here, and the whole point of that whole exchange was to say, I don't believe in the word empathy because people use that word to say, oh, okay, well, you can't empathize with me, therefore you can't have an opinion. Like, because you aren't having a child, therefore you can't have an opinion about children.
Right.
Or you aren't a woman, therefore you can't have an opinion about women. Right. You aren't a man, therefore you can't. Well, that doesn't make sense.
Right. So it's empathy. It's empathy according to people's, based on their convenience. So what's convenient to you.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick, since we're on the internet, I want to make a PSA, public service announcement to the internet. Y'all really need to stop getting your information from TikTok. I understand we're millennials, we're Gen Z, some Gen Xers, and I only know that we only have 30-second spans, attention spans, but it's ridiculous because, and also another thing too, I think what you were talking about one of the reasons why people got all this wrong information is because basically they're taking those clips and then it's like a influencer telling them, hey, this is what he's actually saying.
Right.
So they're not even getting like the straight information. They're telling you, oh, this is the small snippet that he said. And then they're going to editorialize. They're going to add to what he actually said. And this is what makes him a bad person, when that's what you need to do. Yeah, this is
No, not you. It's Meg. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Manny.
Hold on, this thing
Sorry.
was like slipping. So anyways.
Yeah, I remember when we first heard Charlie Kirk. I mean, Charlie Kirk was our age.
Yes.
He was younger than us.
He was younger.
Yeah, he
than
was
us.
But
younger.
he grew
yeah.
up in the same era as us, where we were on the internet saying the wildest things. Y'all remember Call of Duty lobbies?
Yep.
Call
Yeah.
of Duty lobbies, you say the wildest things.
Yeah.
I've
That's
heard.
the era him and Candace and us. That's the era we all grew up in. And so when he would say wild things, they weren't even that crazy.
Yeah.
It's just this new generation of people that are like, oh, we got to censor everything we say. We gotta be PC about everything. That's
Well, not
politically
about
correct.
everything.
We
And
don't
that's
even
what
use that
bothers
word no
me.
more.
It's not about everything.
You're right. It's not about
not
everything.
about everything. It's
just
about whatever
hurts
goes to
your
get
feelings.
right. That part.
Your feelings are king, and that's
Right.
That's just not the era we grew
Logic
up in.
is not a thing.
Right.
You know, facts are not a thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just everything has to be based on emotion. And I think that's exactly what this whole Charlie Kirk thing was. You know, like, you know, he kept it a buck. Like he was very honest. But even in his debates, he was not going back and forth in a nasty way.
No.
Right? He was literally sharing his opinion, and people would go to his debates and chew his head off. And he's just like, you know, he'll smirk or smile about it and say, okay, but let's talk about it. Let's debate it. You know, let's just this is the whole point. The whole premise of this is a debate, right? For us to like actually discuss, not go at each other and fight each other and kill each other over this stuff.
Yep. Charlie gave him a mic, and they gave him a bullet. That's
Yep.
what happened.
That is it. That's
what
exactly it. That's exactly it.
I thought it was interesting, and a lot of people thought it was controversial that he specifically picked college campuses to have these conversations.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about him specifically going to colleges to speak
Bro,
to
those-
young people?
Those are the places that you're supposed to go and think about ideas. Those are the intellectual centers of our world.
That's what universities used to be. It used to be
Right.
like the intellectual centers where you come, different ideas would basically battle it out. And that's how people would form their worldview. There's this thing, because some people are saying, oh, you're just attacking kids. Well, funny thing, Charlie Kirk actually never went to college.
Right.
He went straight to he just went straight to work. And so this whole concept of like, oh, they're just kids. I'm like, well, they're out here. First and foremost, this is important because we're supposed to build a society with these people. And if we can't have conversations, we can't have a society, which that's what makes this whole Charlie Kirk thing scary. He tried to have conversation and they got a bullet through his neck.
Right.
Right.
Bro, what do you mean? What do people mean by like, he's fighting kids, bro? Those kids are military age kids.
I was just gonna say that.
They can fight and die as
I
soldiers
was
in
just gonna say
Afghanistan,
that.
but they can't fight about ideas
Right.
in college campus.
Great point.
Right.
That's a great
It's
point.
ridiculous.
Yep.
And I think one of the points that he would make when he would go to colleges that he wouldn't even refer to them by their age. He would say, "Are you a voter? Are you able to vote?" So if you're able to vote, I think you should have an opinion.
That's a fantastic point.
Or you should be able to give at least your perspective on how you process politics and policy, and which way are you willing to vote and why. You know, I don't know if you guys remember when he started in college campuses. It was he used to put up, what was the question? Try to convince me, I think it was something.
Change my mind.
Yeah,
that
change
was-
my
that was-
mind.
That was Steven Crowder.
Yeah,
who
that was
started
Steven
it.
Crowder.
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
But
But
Steven
but
Crowder
everybody
inspired
did
that.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
inspired. He basically started that, and then Charlie Kirk kind of he took it to another level.
Right.